grace. And I forgot. I forgot something. Now, this one I'll probably take down. The principles I just gave you, I know. Wait, let me let y'all come on in. I'm sorry. I got some more for you. Now, this one will probably come down. But you got to, in order to understand what I'm saying on this one, you got to watch the former one. I forgot something. Them principles that I just gave you, them relationship measurement principles and conversation bookends, that whole, the people with your last name are not exempt from them. See, the easiest people to relate to in default measurement is your family. Do not think that just because y'all are sisters, naturally speaking, that y'all know how to be friends. And do not think that just because this is your big brother, that he knows exactly what that looks like to you in your life. And do not think that your cousins understand what it is to be cousin friends or cousin support. Do not excuse your family from these discussions and conversations. You know, the idea is that just because we're family, that this stuff should be understood. But if you've ever been called a bad son or a bad daughter, or, you know, that's my sister, or the family has the power more than any of these other relationships to fall into that category of defaultness. No, we not kids no more. So once we become of age, I got to discover, desire, define, decide, declare, even you. Don't let that last name make them exempt. And I'm not going to go there tonight because I don't want to confuse y'all too much. I think every 2 to 3 years in marriage, you ought to do the same thing there. Because hopefully they're not the same person that they were that you walked down the aisle with. Because the reason you stay married is not the reason you get married. So ain't no relationship exempt from what I just taught you. I just wanted to put that out there. That was so on my heart. Couldn't get that out. But no, it's not exempt. One of the most beautiful things that happened to me in 2020 was me and my siblings made decisions to become friends. We had always been brothers and sisters, but we hadn't talked about it, and we were not effortful about building the friendship that's in our sibling ones. Prior to having the shutdown and all of that, we treated our siblingship probably less than we did our other. We were more intentional about other relationships than we were then. But because we were all we had during the pandemic, and we couldn't go nowhere, we sat down like, all right, what we about to do? Because all we gonna do is sit on FaceTime every day and watch movies and all of that. And something beautiful was born from it. We developed a pecking order, an accountability process. They know when I'm not myself. I know when they not they self, and we check each other. We established conversations about how we were going to treat our nieces and nephews and all of that stuff there. So what I'm trying to tell you is, don't let the last name thing give people a relationship slide. And I'm going to tell you why. In dysfunctional families, this stuff will come up whether you're prepared for it or not. You wait till that family reunion or that Thanksgiving table or a death. Baby, don't let a funeral happen, a wedding. You let that stuff come up, and that dysfunction is going to come to a peak, and somebody's going to manifest or confess or yell about a hurt that has been suppressed, a disappointment that they've been carrying for years that they've harbored. We are adults. Just because you're my brother don't mean that we've been intentional about our relationship. And just because you're my sister don't mean that we've been intentional about our relationship. And I don't want to assume that you know that what I think that is. Because being a sister to me is different from being a brother to you. And being a brother to you may not be feasible to me. And being a brother to your other brother, whatever the dynamics are. The worst mistake you can do is take universal definitions into very life-specific relationships. Don't do it. Don't take universal, generalized, standardized definitions into very specific needs and traumas and experiences and histories and desires. So let's not do that, because I'm telling you, let me tell you something. Let me get into something. Now, my family is a movie on every side in both ways. I was in a winery a couple of weeks ago eating dinner, just enjoying my steak. It was beautiful. And there was a there was a family that walked in, and you can tell family dynamics sort of kind of like who's the elder brother, who's the nephew, and they walked in, and we were just minding our business. And then after about 30 minutes of sitting there, like what appeared to be a matriarch walked in. She was on a cane, right? So she came in on a walker. The oldest guy, who was the stronger guy, came and walked. I don't know if it was Big Mama or Great Auntie or Granny or I don't know who the. So she came in and she kissed everybody. She smooched on them one by one. I was like, man, this is really cool. So me and everybody that I was at the table with, we were like, man, that's important. It's good to just see the black family again. I think after everything we face and where the culture is going, people are starting to value stuff like Sunday dinner in a real weird way, or you know what I'm saying, like the dinner table or card games. They're starting to value that stuff like that. Child, Granny sat down, or Big Mama sat down, or Meemaw, whoever she was. She sat down, and after about, I hope I'm not exaggerating, after about 11 to 12 minutes, she say, I say, whoa. She said, I'm effing sick of talking about it. Then she got up and she flipped every plate on the table. Now, what was sad is that she was so feeble. Although it was a hostile action, we still unclear to this day about who her aim was or what happened. Because every plate that she flipped didn't hit the intended target. She couldn't sit. It wasn't even a half an hour that she was sitting there. And it was so bad that the waiters and the managers had to come and ask everybody to leave. And when I tell you your boy was so stunned, I was in the middle of a gut-wrenching laugh and grave concern and grief, because I was wondering what subject matter could have come up in that short amount of time that would have merited that type of explosive response from a lady who can't even walk on her own. What is that? I know it's kind of deep, but think about how many families have those unhad talks, those unacknowledged pains. We love to suppress it and not deal with it and measure it. Those, or even desires that never got put out there. And then a life event happens and it all comes up. It'll happen at a funeral. It'll happen at a wedding. It'll happen at a holiday. It'll happen at a family reunion. That's all you need for somebody to feel like you always get the attention. I can't believe you could accuse me of that. Or to find out that Uncle Willie was a molester. Or to find out that Apostle Isaac, unfortunately, is right. Or that Mama accidentally matured the oldest girl so fast because she needed help. Right? And so the oldest girl now is under the pressure to be co-mama. But now because she had to be co-mama, and she was robbed of a healthy maturation process as a girl, because she was helping mama take care of responsibilities of the other ones. They were all in stair steps in their age. And now she grows up and is bitter and feels unsupported and replicates the nurturing mistakes and the nurturing deficiencies of the mama. And so now when she don't feel supported, she breaks down, and there's a lot. And then you have a possible tension between that oldest sibling and that youngest one, because by the time the youngest one got here, mama and daddy had grown up a bit, so they did things a little differently. And so there's this unspoken weird thing about how the youngest got more than the oldest, and then the middle is like, is anybody looking at me, for me, around me, concerned about me? And meanwhile, when they matriculate into adulthood, they still don't know how to interact with each other without the parents. It takes for somebody to get sick or need to be put in a home, or cancer to happen, or death to happen, for us to realize, God dog it, we don't have a relationship. Because just because you're blood don't mean you got relationship. I want to drop that on you. Have you consider that and think about that. This is also true with husband and wife. Don't assume that just because y'all having sex that y'all understand each other and that y'all know each other's world. Ask questions about their friends, their days, their desires, their passions, their hopes, their dreams. Anyway, the point I was making, forgive my demonstrative nature, the point I was making is that using principles I gave you in the former life also for your family and your blood, your uncles, your aunts, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your mom, your dad, blah, 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 blah. All right. Love you guys. Good night.